CNN senior political contributors Van Jones and Scott Jennings have been pounding beers and eating popcorn and watching the State of the Union. They're doing a special CNN voter live cast. Saginaw was one of 2 counties in that crucial swing state to flip from Biden to Trump. And Michigan is home to several key midterm contests later this year. Tonight, Van and Scott are joined by 10 voters, 4 Democrats, 4 Republicans, and 2 independents who watched tonight's speech. Van and Scott, walk us through the reaction in the room to the president's address.
Well, half of us were miserable, and the other half were delighted. And we're going to get a chance to hear from everybody. Look, I think the most important thing I can say is that people here who are not in Washington, D.C., who are on the ground, look at this stuff very, very differently. You did not like this speech at all. Tell me why.
I didn't like the speech because he did not talk about what he was doing to make our lives better. As Governor Spanberger said, is the president working to make our lives better? No. James Carville said, it's the economy. And it still is the economy. And he's not talking about that at all.
Wait, what about the Trump accounts? What about the tax cuts? Did that move you at all? Did that make you feel like he's on your side?
No. No, it did not.
Why not?
He talked about the health care plan. Where is his health care plan? People's health insurance premiums are going up. What is he doing for that? What is he doing for our seniors?
Yeah, just left you flat.
But Erica, you are a Trump supporter. You liked the speech, and you had some positive things to say. What did you think?
Yep, I'm glad he addressed the tax breaks. I haven't done ours yet, but I know there will be a huge change with the children tax break, and my husband works a lot of overtime, so I'm excited to see what that does. I think no senior should pay Social Security taxes. And then I liked how, I wish he would have stayed more on Iran, because I was already wondering and trying not to worry about it, but kind of not paying attention. But it sounds like he said if they're not going to go to nuclear, we don't have to do the FA. Find out. We don't want to find out.
Yeah, he said his preference was diplomacy.
Right.
Yeah.
But he will find out if he has to.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so curious about how you saw it.
The thing that I missed the most was a focus on the economy and looking forward. And Supreme Court struck the tariffs down, and he's going for another round of tariffs. And I also think that's the wrong direction. Tariffs cost our company a lot of money. Our costs are up, and we need to control our costs. And, without, raising rates, we can't give raises to our employees. We can't help them. So I'm stuck in that kind of vicious cycle of raise the rates, prices go up, raise the rates, and, how do we continue that?
So he didn't help you at all on the tariff stuff at all. But you said that you enjoyed this speech and that there were moments that moved you. What moved you about this speech?
Well, the celebrating people is always good, but again, that $18 trillion investment, the $25 million in Trump accounts. But I did hear something on the health care, right? We have a law, the Obamacare, the ACA, and we don't have we don't have a way around it, and it's really just pooled care that's gone up every year. And this most favored nation, he's taken a stab at lowering the costs for us. And unless the legislature acts, he's at least doing something that's going to hit our pocketbook.
I think the part of the speech that's probably going to live on for most Republicans is when he asked the Congress, stand up if you think your duty is first to American citizens before illegal aliens. Republicans stood up. It gave him his most sustained applause for the night. I suspect, Van, you're going to see this in a lot of campaign ads, that Democrats wouldn't stand up. What did you all think of the showmanship of that, or of sort of the spectacle of trying to get Democrats to stand up for that?
Well, I think the point, and it may have gotten a little muddled, but, in the showmanship, but I think his point is valid. Everybody in that room represents the citizens in this country. And are you doing your job? He should, the governor asked, is Trump doing his job? Trump asked, are all of you doing your job?
But don't you think it was just kind of a cheap stunt? To just, you're somebody who's been in politics for a long time. To me, it seemed like a stunt. No matter what Trump told Democrats, stand up if I say anything. If he said, stand up if you like puppies, they would have said, we like kittens. There's no way they were going to stand up. So to me, he was just trying to make Democrats look bad. But should they have stood up, Pastor?
Mm-hmm. The role should be to unify the country. And I think this was the opportunity for us to come together as one. We're not a states of red or blue states, but we're the United States. And this was
Would you have stood up? If you were a Democrat and Donald Trump said, stand up if you or against illegal immigrants, whatever he said, would you have stood up?
I would have respected our country, and I would have stood to my standards. And I would have stayed to my who I know who I am, and left it at that.
You should be a politician. He's a better politician than me.
Wait a minute. All right. We have a minute left here. We're in Michigan. We are in Michigan. We can see Canada from here, almost.
Kind of.
Did everybody love the hockey team? Let's do it. Yes, this unified America. We took their sport. We took their gold medal. Jack Hughes,
took 2 gold
our
medals.
guy. He took their hot chicks. He's dating one of their hot chicks right now. It's amazing.
Jack Hughes is from
I
Michigan.
know. That's what I'm saying.
We took 2 gold medals. The women won 2.
And the president acknowledged the women, and he said they're coming to the White House, which I thought was a great thing.
Hey,
So
listen.
here in Michigan, Anderson, I have to say, I think the hockey moment was unifying probably in this particular area more than anywhere else in the country. Everybody, Republicans, Democrats, even Van, even poor Van, on a miserable night said, the American hockey team is a great thing. So,
I
admit it, good thing.
That was a good thing, though. I will say they keep messing with these Canadians and it's messing up y'all's economy. No tourists are coming down here, so let's be nice, be a little bit nicer to the Canadians. But I'm glad we won.
All right, Anderson.
You know, it's
that's
nice
what
to
we got out
it's
here in
nice to
Michigan.
see
We got a
that-
lot of opinions out
Yeah.
here.
It's nice to see the heated rivalry between you guys. You can watch it later, Scott. You'll see. My panel is here with me in Washington. I do want to play something that President Trump said about affordability, which is obviously something that the governor spoke about as well. Let's watch.
Are the same people in this chamber who voted for those disasters suddenly used the word affordability, a word they just used it. Somebody gave it to them, knowing full well that they caused and created the increased prices that all of our citizens had to endure. You caused that problem. You caused that problem. They knew their statements were a dirty, rotten lie. Their policies created the high prices. Our policies are rapidly ending them. That I will soon be presenting Connor with our highest civilian honor, which we will be given and which has been given to many athletes over the years. But when I say many, not too many, like 12, it's called the highest civilian honor in our country, the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
It was the thought about the hockey.
You know what I thought was actually really interesting, just listening to those voters and Americans, they were really focused on the economy. And I think that the red meat applause lines that Scott mentioned about stand up if you believe that you're supposed to be working for U.S. citizens, that definitely works really well for the partisans. But the regular people, their takeaways were all about the economy. They were about health care. They were about tariffs. They were about the cost of living. They were about exactly what we've been talking about this whole time. And I think that is very instructive because that moment where Trump got his biggest applause line in the room, I don't know if it will resonate as much as the White House might want it to be, and it certainly is not going to be the thing that this midterm is going to be fought
I think
on.
one of the problems that he has is that people see these things as distractions. They don't think he's focused on the thing that is most important to them, the thing that was most important to them when they elected him. They don't think he's delivering on that. And even the things that his supporter mentioned there, there is not $18 trillion in new investments here. Everybody knows the economy in their communities have slowed. They're worried about their jobs. This most favored nation piece on drugs applies to like 40 drugs of the 23,000 prescription drugs are out there. So people know they're not paying less for their prescriptions. And I think that is the challenge because he is selling something that they don't feel or see and they don't think he's really focused on.
Well, let's unpack this.
We got like 30 seconds.
His line, their policies created the high prices, our policies are rapidly ending them. That is going to be the line that they keep driving, which is they are responding and trying to bring down what Biden brought to them, which is pain. First Trump administration, unrivaled economic success that drove him back to the White House. That's the reason why he got elected this time. So the assumption here was that he would deliver bigly. And the American people are yet to feel that. And without feeling it, no visual, no audio will move them off of that unless they can feel it. That's what the Republicans have to do.
The reason they had those expectations was because he set those expectations and said that he was going to deliver quickly, that he was going to bring down costs, and he did not do that.